Social media, bias, and the algorithm. Before we begin, this video will switch between narrators. We hope that you don't find that jarring. Without further ado, let's begin. I'm sure that you can all agree that from 2020 to 2025, social media has gone increasingly more impactful on our lives. The global pandemic that had once locked everybody indoors has made it so that social media now heavily controls the flow of information, trivializing the spread of ideas globally, though such a revolutionary technology has been continuously used maliciously. Companies such as Facebook are prime examples of this. In 2021, Franz Haugen, a former worker at Facebook, rebranded Meta the same year, leaked documents showing that the company was aware of Instagram and Facebook's effect on the spread of hate, speech, violence, and misinformation to young users. These documents showed that Facebook was not only aware of these problems, but chose to prioritize profits and, according to Haugen, subsidizes by paying for profits with safety. Though it is important to outline how Facebook does this. Facebook, like many other social media platforms, uses an algorithm to decide what content will be shown to what audiences. But this distribution of content is flawed due to its optimizations for audience attention rather than audience benefit, for efficiency rather than safety. This is known as algorithmic bias. An easy-to-test example of algorithmic bias lies in Google's search engine. Search up any contentious topic with a slightly altered wording. For example, the searches here were, was Obama a good president, and was Obama a bad president? Despite the questions being fundamentally the same, the slight change in wording between good and bad causes the search to produce differing results, with the former search having sources that support Obama's presidency, while the latter search has sources that oppose Obama's presidency. And this is only a light example of how algorithmic bias can affect information. At more sophisticated levels, algorithmic bias can essentially lock certain people to certain spheres of information. And that leads to the creation of echo chambers within social media. An echo chamber is a cognitive bias caused by a person being repeatedly fed information reinforcing their pre-existing beliefs, whether intentionally or unintentionally. This causes a positive feedback loop of continual reinforcement of beliefs, entrenching users against alternate perspectives. One big example of echo chambers is the divide between parties in the US. Like it or not, one cannot deny the fact that social media has a tremendous effect on conflicting opinions, such as in politics, in the modern age. Because of echo chambers, supporters of either party could be repeatedly fed one-sided information. Minority opinions are suppressed by spirals of silence, where some are less likely to share if they believe their opinion contradicts that of the majority. This divisional effect is further taken advantage of directly via persuasive media. Though they are often mixed, there's a fundamental difference between informative and persuasive media. Informative media is information aimed to inform someone of a situation or happening, whilst persuasive media is an information predisposed to convince someone of an argument or view. This distinction is critical, as in the media, these two aims can often be confused, leading to these biases being hard to perceive, especially if it's intended to be biased. There are many ways media manipulation is done. Some examples include disinformation campaigns from Russian bot networks, political deepfakes and misinformation from articles, and radicalization of teenagers online by political groups. For example, in 2026, a Singaporean teenager was issued a restriction order for supporting ISIS. His radicalization started only when he was 12. The teenager wanted to go overseas and die a martyr. Media manipulation can be used to scam or manipulate victims using fake information to mislead or trick people to, for example, donate money, purchase fake subscriptions, or believe fake news. That's why it's critical to not trust everything you see on the internet, and to run background checks, find evidence, and to evaluate the credibility and reliability of the source.
Similarly, sensationalism acts as the presentation of stories or information intended to provoke public interest. It often happens in news, articles, and videos, used to excite the greatest number of readers and viewers. So why is it a bad thing? That is because sensationalism can tend to over-exaggerate or distort facts. A big, bold, and biased headline might lead a viewer to believe one thing. However, it undermines quality journalism. This can lead to fear-mongering, distraction from important issue, and especially in the content of politics, polarization, especially when amplified by aforementioned echo chambers. Now, the important thing to take away from all of this is only to be informed of basic problems and develop higher media literacy. In order for us to cure the circulation of demerit information via social media, we have to first understand and be conscious of the problems or habits causing it.
Malicious actors, companies, and governments know the immense potential effect of media in the 21st century.
The flow of information in 2026 is untrustable and potentially harmful, further amplified by an algorithm that prioritizes engagement.
Of course, the information in this video is admittedly limited, which could lead to some cognitive bias. That's why it's heavily encouraged for you to do your own research and form your own opinions about the topic. If you disagree with or have new things to share about the topic of this video, feel free to do so via our survey or the comments. Thank you for watching.